Hello everyone, Cherie Wayman here from Fanklemade. Today I want to show you that Silhouette Studio isn't just a cut and print software. You can use it to help you design your project, bringing in colour and using it as a layout tool. Although I'm using quilt blocks for this demonstration, there are many other applications in which these tools can work. For example, applique or paper projects. The first thing you need is either the shapes or the templates that you will be using in your project. These shapes have been created in Silhouette Studio, and they are the three shapes that are required to make this block: a square, Dresden plate, and right-hand triangle. However, if you are not comfortable about drawing in Silhouette Studio, you can scan some shapes in, you can take photographs of them and bring them into the studios and trace them. Now what we want to do is decide what sort of block we want to use. I'm going to replicate this over here and start with the right-hand triangle. I need to copy one of these and bring it to the bottom here. And the simplest way to do that is to go over to the replicate panel on the right hand side and select mirror down. We've got a nice flush matching triangle here. I'm going to bring it round to make it look more like a square. Next, the Dresden plate, we want to have it rotated around like a star. So using the mirror option again, go to the mirror down, group that together, and you want another couple of copies to rotate around. So go over to the rotate copies. You want rotate 3 copies. Now we have the Dresden plate. And the square, well, the square is a square. We have all that we need to create this block. I'm going to pull the Dresden plate off for the moment and group it together, and same with square, and we'll work with the right hand triangles. So I will group that, and now I want 4 of them. So back to the mirror option over here on the replicate. I want to mirror down, select all of that and mirror across. If I group that together, just so we don't lose the setup, and bring in the Dresden plate, put them, overlap them and centralize them. At the moment you're seeing that you've got a slightly different design to this one here, because the points are actually crisscrossing the triangles as well. So I'm going to ungroup that and just swivel this round slightly, the Dresden plate part. And now this is exactly the same as this block. But that's the whole point of the design. Once you have it on the screen, you can manipulate it to whatever you like. You could have kept it in the layout that we had earlier. To begin, I want to take this block and make sure that it is flush with the left and the top of the layout page. Having selected it, just go up to the alignment option on the top menu, select align left, and then select align top. So that's the first one. If we then copy and paste this one, copy, paste in front, unselect and make sure that you just have the top one. Again, go to the align, And this time you still want it aligned to the top, but you also want it aligned to the right. While the right hand one is still selected, copy and paste in front again. And this time tell it to align to the bottom. And again, for this one, you want another copy aligning to the left. Copy, paste in front, and align to the left. With all of these done, you just need the one in the middle. Select any one of the four on the page, copy and paste. Just drag it away from the corner one and put it somewhere in the center of the page, but all you need to do then is go up to the top alignment and click on this center to page option and it will be centralized. Now, because I've made these squares and all these other shapes fit into 4-inch squares, they fit perfectly on a 12-inch area. Of course, yours may be different and you can create just using a rectangle shape on the page to make it a larger area and work to that. That's your choice. At this point, we want to be able to bring colour into these 4 areas here, and you can have a choice of working with the 4-inch square itself or a 12-inch one, which will cover the whole page. And use that as a background and just work with it as one whole. So if you're using the 4-inch one, you want to be able to align it within these areas. And to do that, drag it onto the page, go up to the alignment and click on align middle and then align left. The same for this other one, align middle and align right. Now that we have those in, you can do the same process again, or you can copy it and paste, rotate it round, group it, and align middle and middle, and ungroup. So here we have this design layout here, and all you need to do now is decide what colours you want to put in. Before I get carried away, I tend to take a copy of anything that's on my design area and save it in case we ever need to go back to it. So I've selected it all, copy, paste, group it, and move it to one side. Next, make sure everything on this is ungrouped so that we can access all the different shapes. And I still need to ungroup again because I'm not seeing these Dresden plates ungrouped. The quickest and easiest choice for colour fill is to go over to the palette over on the right hand side and select block colours. So let's just select one of the triangles and every alternate one give another colour. That wasn't alternate, this one will be alternate. Okay, so we filled in one block, but you can see immediately that the Dresden plates are hidden underneath the triangles. And this is what I'm saying, when you put the colour in, you start to see which layer is uppermost. So just go into each one, select it and centre back. And now you have it all showing again. Now, block colour is the most obvious. You can, if you like, make it more transparent by going over to the colour palette and using this transparency drag tool. That's one option. If you wanted, you go into advanced and select a different tone or hue that you want. We're on the pink, and you have this slider bar here, and you can drag that up and down, and that will give slightly different colours, more muted now. You have also, you've got up here on the top, you have three options. We're in the solid palette at the moment, but there is also a fill gradient palette. And for example, if we went over to this one here and click on it, you can see now that you have a gradient, and this particular option gives you a gradient in the middle. If we go into the advanced, it now explains to you where the lightness is, and these little crosses here mean that you can delete them if you want to. So if I delete one, you've got a narrow band of light colour. And then you have the drag tools where you can drag over the colour to make it deeper in some areas. So you have a lot to play with just the colour palette. In addition to the block colour and fill gradient options in the colour palette, there's another nice little feature called the fill pattern. If we click on that, you'll see on the screen little pattern tiles, and these are brought in with the software itself from Silhouette Studio, and as you progress you'll be able to bring in your own and create patterns with those too. Let's see what they do. Over on the design area, I'm going to click on this square, which is a closed object, and pattern will only fill closed objects. Then I'm going to select a pattern, and immediately the whole pattern is populating the object. There are ways you can manipulate this a little bit more. There is a transparency tool, so you can fade the colour if you wish. And on the advanced options, you have a mirror which will flip the pattern horizontally or vertically. A pattern aspect ratio, which is fixed or stretch. We have the fixed selected at the moment, and if I, for example, stretched the square, you'll see that the pattern maintains its size in proportion to the size of the object. But if I selected stretch and did the same thing again, you'll see that the pattern actually stretches with the object. I'm just going to undo and make sure that my square is still 4 inches. You can rotate the pattern round within the object by set degrees. You can change the angle so that it could become a diagonal pattern. There's a scale button which allows you to enlarge the pattern and reduce it in size within the object area. And there is a pan pattern which if you click on the button here, you end up with this little button within the object, and if you click on that, you can drag the pattern around to get the optimum position for the pattern within the object. For example, if you'd selected something with flowers and the main flower was caught up in a corner here, you can pan the fabric or the pattern into the center to get the best position for it. One thing you should bear in mind when you're using the scale and the pan is that these little pattern tiles are not finite in size. They do have a border, and you will see them when you start to minimize the scale of the pattern in an object, particularly if it's under 100% of scale. I'm going to change the actual picture within the object to make it a little easier for you to see. So just clicking on the sky there, and immediately you can see there is a line here which shows the border of the pattern itself. So on this one you probably need to pan it out because you are over 100% anyway. But if you scale down, you'll start to see it again, and you'll see multiples. It starts to repeat itself, and you'll have a grid of the pattern showing within the object. So just make sure that when you do adjust scale and the positioning of the pattern, that you eliminate these borders. As I mentioned a little earlier in the video, you can bring in your own pictures to create your own patterns in Silhouette Studio. As a quilter, you might want to take a scanned copy or a photograph of your fabric and bring that into the studio to use in your design area. To do this, first of all, you need to go up to the library on the top of the screen, click on that, and that will bring up your library showing all the files and the folders they're held in on the left hand side. And one of these folders is called Patterns. If you click on Patterns and right click New Folder, give it a name, and that's where you want to bring in your imported files. I'm just going to say Pictures. Now we need to bring the pictures into the Silhouette library. Go up to the file at the top here, click on that, scroll down to Library, and then click on Import to Library. You'll see a screen now that is similar to the ones you use on your computer, and it's where you hold all your files. Go to wherever you've held the pictures and select them. I'm already in that screen, so I'm going to select on the first one and then hold my shift button down and select the last one and click OK. This will take a second or two to load up into the library. It's just synchronizing, so I'm just giving it a second to do that. These pictures have been brought into the designs area and still need to be put into the pictures subfolder. So select them all again, and you can either drop and drag or cut and paste into this folder. So now the pictures are in the library. We can go back to the design screen and check them out on the pattern fill options here. Scroll down, and here we have the pictures. In the same way that we've used the colour block and the gradients, we can populate these designs now with the various pictures. And start to design your fabric quilt block. Let's move this one out the way now and go to the one that's already been prepared. Bring that onto the page. So you can see that I've created a block that has 9 different squares in them and little blocks inside of that. And the colour that I've used as the main background colour is just a solid colour. But you can change that and play around to see what works best for you. So I'm going to ungroup this right now and select the squares either way. Yes, I've got those now. I'm going to group those together so anything I do with it, they change at the same time. And as I say, these were already in the colour block, but we can change them by using this little eyedropper here, going to the patterned areas of the screen and clicking on that, and it will automatically pick up the colour that was in that pattern, so that it should match quite nicely with your quilt block. And you can keep changing it until you're happy. You might want to change these darker areas here to match it. So if we did that, let's just select all the dark areas in this particular block and match. And so you can start to see how it's working. And if you want to change the direction of something, then you can swivel them around, rotate them, flip them over, and work on that until you're happy with the design. The opportunity for you then is to print it off and take it to the haberdashers so you can get some matching fabric. You can even print onto fabric now, but be careful with either of those options that you make sure that whatever you're printing onto from the silhouette is the same size, because of course I've been working on a 12 by 12 here. I'm going to select it all and make it transparent, and you can see the mat behind, but printers in the UK particularly are generally A4 in size, sometimes A3, but not 12 by 12. So if you're printing onto paper or fabric that can be put through the printer, you need to adjust the size of your media, and you do this by going to the page setup panel and change your media size. And you can see just slightly underneath, this is the A4 size of paper that you'll be using, and you want to make sure that whatever you're printing off fits in that area. If you're working on lots of little designs, you want to pull the elements off the design onto the page. I should have made that full colour and taken out the transparency. There we go. Take it off the page and pull the various elements off. Just make sure that whatever you're going to print off fits onto the A4 sheet that you have. One last thing within the design element is that if you're trying to get everything accurately placed, and I'm going to leave it on the A4 for this, you possibly want to use your grid options, and if you go up to the view panel here, you can show grid, and also there is a snap to grid option here. And so if you, I'm going to start another little rectangle, and as I move along the screen, you can see it's snapping halfway across the grid options or directly onto the line. So that may help you while you're positioning things on the page. And I think that's where I can leave it and leave you to play with your designs, and hopefully it will be a great success for you. Thank you for watching. My name is Cherie Wayman from Fanklemade, and if you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe and follow me for future ones. Bye for now.